Okay, so hello. I'm going to be showing off my first submission of the prototype of the shooter game that I'm working on. I'm part of the art track, so I am a 3D artist. That was my specialization. But I just love, video games and I love first-person shooters. By no means a programmer, but I am interested in level design and I am interested in some tech art. So I thought I'd take on the challenge of working on my own game during this semester. But however, since I'm not a programmer, I allowed myself to use a template, and I was going to modify it and take control of using my own assets and creating my own shaders and learning and using the Megascan suite. So the first thing you can see, you can notice that it says 2 players. I'm just going to change it to 1, but it is running as a listen server. I have done some experiments with getting it running on a dedicated server as well, but right now I'm just leaving it as the listen server just for testing. This is the template here. You can see it's just a basic FPS template. It lets you pick some classes, little extra perks and specialization. Just going to go with the basic assault rifle. And once this loads, this is kind of my test sandbox. I just kind of use this area to test out shaders, test out props and scale and functionality, sort of thing. There comes with a blueprint for explosive barrels, because that's like a staple of first-person shooters. So I took that and tweaked it and used my own props. So these are all my props so far. The grass is one of the first shaders that I worked on. It is a shader that tries to use 2 different texture variations to kind of hide the tiling. So if I went ahead and if I go ahead to my materials, master materials, and I just show like a like a simple grass up, you can see the tiling. It's really bad and really noticeable. So I made this other material that uses noise offset to kind of hide that a bit, which is one of the first things I did. I also have a shader that I was working on and learned a lot from Ben Cloward's video, who is a technical artist at BioWare. So I actually have a let's see here, a tile material with rain on it. So if I got rain in the game, I could use that. It's a lot of fun stuff. And I'll show you a couple other things. So this is just the basic landscape, basic things, all coming from Megascans and utilizing them in my own master material library. As you can see, I have a lot of different development textures, basic, like complex and simple variations of PBR workflows, just depending on what the need is. And also created a bunch of material functions and one specific for landscapes as well, which I'll be showing shortly. I'm gonna go ahead and switch this over to 2 players, and if you notice, I got a second window here. So this is my second client. The server is technically running in the editor, and this is the first player that would pop up on the network. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to the sniper rifle, and I'm going to change teams. I'm going to hit play. And going to just move that to the side so I can hit play here. And as you can see, I'm red, and there is a blue player here. So I haven't done too much to changing the logic to the game, mostly focusing on an art and level design perspective, as I'll probably say a couple times. But I did add some sound effects, which is really cool. Just kind of give it that old school flair. Alright. So, also going to boot up some other test maps. One you'll see is a landscape test. And I also have a basic water shader going. I'm just going to let these shaders compile. But I have a shader that lets, if I go ahead and shift the landscape in painting, you can see I have all these different layers. So if I wanted to go ahead and paint dirt, I can paint dirt. If I want to paint mud, I can paint mud. It's all, stone. It's all pretty uniform. But if you notice at the top, I have this automatic layer, and that's because if I use this, the based off the height when sculpting, the shader will change depending on the blend. So that's how I get like these dirt effect and stone on higher areas, which is really, really, really cool. So if I just go ahead and if I dig into it, you can notice that I'm getting lower and lower, and dirt's popping, and you'll notice water starts to appear. Really, really cool. And if I fill it in, if I go really, really crazy, eventually start getting into mountains. Really, really cool stuff. Also did it with the snow variation. Snow works a lot differently, so I wanted to make sure that I'm taking into account to subsurface scattering, different types of snow. Just gotta wait for the shaders to compile here. You can see them starting to kick in. Again, another thing that I'm trying to keep in mind is trying not to make the tiling obvious, and the way I'm doing that is I'm using materials, textures from Megascans, and I'm using, I'll pull in another normal map from a slightly more perhaps noisy snow or whatever material, and you can notice the tiling still, like when I get really, really close up, but that's okay, because when you're playing, you're going to be right there, and it's going to be hard to notice, and the texture's going to be nice and sharp. But if you're flying over, you don't see too much tiling, because there is a macro texture being projected on top of it with different UV offsets, and when you get super close to the texture, there is a detailed normal map being applied. So that's really cool. And lastly, I'm just going to show my test map. This is a test map that I've been working on. Again, all my props. The layout is heavily based on, right now, just for testing, on the map Kill House from Call of Duty 4, but I just put my own little spin on it, trying to make it a little different gameplay-wise. I mirrored some of the elements that aren't mirrored, and I made the middle different, and added these areas to run across and maybe get across the map a lot faster, and able to jump up and jump across and get out. And again, explosive barrels are always fun, and that's not in that map. And here we have is red flag and red spawn, and then over here we have our blue flag and blue spawn. So again, if I go ahead and load in, I'm going to choose the sniper this time, and I'm going to grab my other guy, and I'm going to change teams. So I'm blue, and then over here I'm red. Spawns with red flag. Got our little base over here. I have my sniper. Blow up the barrels. Little grenade. Again, this is all from the template, but I'm just having fun with it. See, I can zone back in. I spawn at the same side of the map. Again, that wouldn't make sense if I spawned anywhere else. Got my sniper. And let's go kill our blue friend. Let's go ahead and do some running around. It's a little fast-paced map. Lets you get up and out. There's some variable action. And yep, this is my status update on my little FPS game I got going. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed.